What's up, guys? Coach Vassar. Thank you for joining me with OTF Audio Daily Beats. As always, if you're new, appreciate you tuning in, listen to me talk about these workouts. If you find value in them, information is in the description to support me. If you have any feedback, as always, please let me know. We're gonna break down Sunday, July 6th. This will also repeat Monday, July 21st. It is a true power day across the board on all three stations. Talk about the 2G, talk about the 3G. So for the 2G on the treads, it's all about 2-minute efforts today. We're gonna build power and challenge yourself to get stronger with each round. On the rower, we're gonna see a front squat with a 150-meter all-out row, build leg power, and aim to get faster each round. On the floor, you have a lower body, core, and power moves in timed rounds, rep and recover. Power reps are short and fast to build strength and speed, AKA power. All right. This one is a doozy of a tread template. So everything is 2 minutes with the exception of, or let me rephrase that. All the work efforts are 2 minutes. The recoveries are a little bit different. This is gonna be very similar to a workout that we did in June, and you'll see what I mean in just a moment. So we're gonna see 2 blocks on the treads. Block 1 is a 6-minute primer to build the efforts and prime the body for the later part. There's a 90-second recovery, and then the second block is 15 and a half minutes. And the weight floor is also timed with that tread block. So just keep that in mind. So block 1, we're gonna prime the body by doing a 2-minute push, 2-minute base, and then a 2-minute push all out. All right. For the 2-minute push, power walkers 5% or greater, joggers and runners 1 to 2 over their base speed, bikes and striders, I would keep them about 3 gears over base, hit their 2-minute base. And then for this push all out, essentially what we want them to do is feel uncomfortable right from the get-go, and then near the last 20 to 30 seconds, it approaches that very uncomfortable feeling. So they need to walk on the other side. So in terms of effort compared to the push, it's gonna be substantially more, but not as much as an all out. 1, because it's for 2 minutes, and 2, it's a push all out and not a push/all out. All right, so what I would recommend is for power walkers, they say anywhere from 5 to 10% or greater, but if they go about 2 to 3% higher than what they did for their push, so maybe if they're like at about 7 to 8% for that 2-minute push all out, that's gonna get pretty gnarly. Joggers and runners, if they were, whatever they did in that 2-minute push, if they could go maybe about 0.3 to 0.5 over that, that's gonna get pretty spicy. All right, and then for the bikes and striders, I would encourage to try to aim for maybe 2 gears over their base. Like if they're at 3, let's try to hold like about 5. If they were only 2 gears, definitely let's try 4 or 5, right? When they are done with that 2-minute push all out, they should need to walk, okay? If they feel like they could bump it up near the end, we want them to start more aggressive then, okay? And if you see people increase during it, great. Then let's try to have them start at that new speed. Because the beautiful thing here is in block 2, they have 4 of those. 2-minute push all out, walk recovery. The walk recoveries get longer. And the goal is to actually increase what they do every time. Now, this is similar to a workout that we did a while back where it was a 90-second push all out on repeat. And the idea with that one was, help members approach the training methodology for the quarter-mile benchmark, right? Because once again, the quarter mile, like the 500-meter row, it's an all-out effort, but takes longer than an all-out. So can we get people accustomed to being in that uncomfortable to almost very uncomfortable feeling for a longer period of time to help build, that mental fortitude to recognize that they could do tough things, they could do, hard things, they are stronger and they are capable, right? So every round, could we add another 0.1 to that push all out speed or more, right? Maybe they end up getting closer to, maybe they use like a 1-minute all out speed. Then that's an opportunity for a conversation afterwards. Like, hey, I saw you hold that, speed that you usually do for a 1-minute all out. You did it for 2 minutes. Maybe it's time to increase your all out next class. That's a non-scale victory for those members. That's awesome. So definitely celebrate that. Give shout outs for people who are, consistent, maintaining, and of course, increasing. The flip side, prioritize the recovery as well. Okay, a 2-minute very aggressive push all out, they should definitely need to walk. 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, okay? This is their opportunity to take a very slow lap around the track, right? The slower they go, the more recovery they're gonna get, the better they're gonna feel leading into that next effort, okay? I know you'll get people who are like itching to get right back to base, especially with that 3-minute walk recovery, but prioritize, recovery, showcase that, give those recognitions to the members whose heart rates have substantially dropped back to a low green, to a blue, because that is a sign of fitness improvement over time. Now, the key thing here is the very last push all out. We're gonna have them increase the intensity for the final 45 seconds. So one way to approach it, I wouldn't coach it this way, but in your head, it could be a 75 push all out into a 45-second all out, right? So we're trying to approach that very uncomfortable feeling sooner within that interval rather than near the end, as we were doing before, okay? So they might only add 0.1, they might add 0.23, more incline, what have you. And then they're done. All right. Other side of the room. Block 1 is actually on the rower. They're gonna do dumbbell front squats followed by a 150 meter all out row. Personally, if space allows, I would have them bring dumbbells over. If you're really crowded, do the weights over by the weight floor station, go to the rower, go back and forth. But it is a front squat, so 2 dumbbells, 10 reps, moderate weight. If people want to do a single dumbbell goblet squat, cool, but just make sure it's heavy then, because like if they're grabbing the 20 for this, but they're able to do like 15s on each side here, like they're doing 30 pounds, they should be doing a 30 pound for the goblet or more, right? But the idea there is to get the legs, activated so they could drive hard with the 150 meter all out row. And the priority here is to actually match or beat the row time, okay? So definitely use stored programs. Stroke rate will be, closer to like 26 to 28-ish, probably about 35 seconds or less for most people. But being consistent, hit it, they should need to rest, and they go back to their squat. With a 6-minute block here, honestly, they're probably only gonna get 2 full rounds, maybe start the squat and almost start a 3rd row, but more than 3 rounds, probably not gonna happen. But now, the second block, this is where it's a little chaotic. All right, so we're gonna have rep and recover. There's a total of 3 rounds. It is all timed up with the tread side. They're gonna see 2 minutes of nonstop work and then 2 minutes of the rep and recover. So when the treads are doing their push all out, the first minute, they're gonna be doing dumbbell alternating lateral lunges. You could do a goblet lateral shift as an option. If that lateral shift or the lateral lunge is not working for someone, but you have benches out, you could do like lateral step ups so they still get the lateral glute work into it. If they do step ups, of course, have them switch 30 seconds in. And then they go to the alternating low side plank, forearms, they rotate, come back, other side. One thing that I'm aware of is, doing that low plank position and open up is really tough on the shoulders. So if anything, this position is a little bit better on the joint. I also like to just go straight to the option, do a high plank position and open up that way, okay? A minute for each, and then when the treads walk it down, the weight floor will have that walk recovery time to do between 4 to 8 reps of a split squat jump on each side, and then dumbbell clean to neutral grip push press for 4 to 8 reps, okay? If they're able to hit 8 reps for both, either they lack the explosiveness for those movements, or it might have been too light, like for the clean to push press. Ideally, we should fall around 4 to 6, so if it's truly powerful. They'd finish those 2 minutes and they should need to rest. However, a fun part for today is members get to choose how they recover. They could actually rest, or they could recover in a low plank. Because you have those members who just like to throw planks whenever. Well, today's their day. All right, round 2 is the exact same thing, but of course they're gonna have 30 seconds extra for the rep and recover. And then the 3rd round, same thing, a 30 extra seconds. So they'll see that 2-minute push all out, they'll hit those, and then during that 3-minute walk recovery, they'll hit those 2 movements and then rest as long as they need, or they could go to that low plank. Now the finisher is a completely different movement. It's a body weight full V-up. They're gonna do 45 seconds, 30-second rest, and then when you cue the treads to increase the intensity, they have a second round of those full V-ups, and then they finish together. And that's the 2G. Now, when we look at the 3G, we're gonna see one long block on the treadmills, one long block on the rower, and then one long block on the weight floor. And everyone is timed up together. So once you get everyone set up, weight floor hang tight, rowers hang tight. When we launch the treads, that's when you take off. So treads, it's essentially the same thing as the second block on the 2G, except for the walk recoveries are shorter. So 2-minute push all out, 90 recovery, 2 minutes, 2-minute walk, 2 minutes, 2.5-minute walk, and then another 2-minute push all out. Okay, same thought process applies. So start aggressive and then continue to add to it and really adjust those walk recoveries so they get that recovery after each round. The rowers are actually timed up and doing the exact same thing as the treadmills. Now, they're doing a 2-minute stored program for that push all out row. They're gonna check and remember distance, and then they have a 90-second recovery row. It is kind of awkward to, get the screen reset and everything. So if anything, once they finish the 2-minute push all out, if they have that flexibility to reach up, tap new interval and keep rowing, great. Otherwise, once they finish that 2-minute push all out, they just keep rowing. Give them about a minute of recovery row, and then 15 seconds, and about a minute 15 of recovery row. And then at that minute 15, they can rack their handles, slide forward, tap stored program. It'll be defaulted to that 2 minutes. And then when you say 3, 2, 1 on the 3, they'll hit use. By 2, 1, it will reset, and then they'll take off for their next round. And they're doing that, and they're trying to match or beat their distance every single round. Super fun. With a 2-minute push all out row, we'll probably see close to, about 450 to 600 plus meters. So if someone needs a goal, that's kind of a range to kind of look at, kind of basing off of what I've seen in terms of leaderboards for like 500 meter benchmark, 1,000 meter benchmark from studios posted around me and whatnot. So there's an idea. Now, the weight floor, it is the same thing as the 2G's second block. Of course, there is less time for the rep and recover, but it's the exact same thing. So round 1, 3 minutes and 30 seconds, of a minute of the lateral lunges, a minute of the alternating low side plank, and then 90 seconds to do their 2 power movements, and then same thing, either rest or hold a low plank. And then the next round, they'll have 4 minutes for that, 2 minutes of nonstop, 2 minutes for rep and recover, and then the last round, 2 minutes nonstop, 2.5 minutes of rep and recover, and then they will have the same finisher sequence as the 2G. So V up, rest, V up, and then collapse. They're done. There you go. So that's gonna be once again on July 6th, Sunday, and then repeats on Monday, July 21st. Extra spicy one, really showcase the athleticism of members and their ability to tap into that very uncomfortable threshold without passing into the very uncomfortable feeling. Coach it down.